Welcome to week 3 of Enterprise Investigative Journalism, and this week we're going to talk about the resources that are out there to help you investigate a person. And there's a lot of different things you can use. We've chosen to use the website of the Kentucky Secretary of State. Now, when you go to this website, there's a search icon down here that says Search Businesses. Now, I know we're investigating a person, but I just want to show you how you can drill really deep down into websites like this. So when you hit on Search Business, what comes up is an opportunity to look through all kinds of different files, and one says Search for Current Officers. Now, I know we're looking for a person, but follow me on this. If you click on that, it brings up a page that allows you to type in a person's name. So because it's someone that you and I both know, I just typed in the name of the Louisville basketball coach, Rick Pitino. When you open up that page, it pops up some of the businesses that he's involved with. Friendship Stables, which is a horse racing business. Motivation Unlimited, which is a motivational speaking company. Daniel Pitino Shelter Incorporated. Runnin' Cardinal Stables. So Daniel Pitino Shelter, I know that's a 501c nonprofit, which means you could go to the IRS and pull up all of their records and find out who's involved in that organization. So when you go to their records available on the website of the Kentucky Secretary of State, you look through in there, you see a different name, Richard A. Pitino. Now we're still searching through Richard Pitino or Rick Pitino. So now let's try this as an alias, if you will. And this time we typed in Richard A. Pitino, and let's see what comes up when you type up his name this time. Well, now you come to the Daniel Pitino Foundation. That's still another different entity than the Daniel Pitino Shelter. See how deep you can start digging through these things? And then it lists that it's a nonprofit, it's inactive, it's in good standing. All the information, here's how you could find the principal office. And then you start looking and you find names here. Richard A. Pitino. You find Terry Miners, the radio show host in Louisville. You see Michael Pitino, which is Rick Pitino's son. And then here's a name that's been popping up as I did the search, Rick Avar. So now let's see if we can find out who this Rick Avar person is. So we type in Rick Avar's name, and now here's the Daniel Pitino Foundation again. And then now here's something called the MAP Foundation. So now let's dig through and find out what this MAP Foundation is. When you dig through that website, there he is, there's Rick Avar. And then look at this name that pops up, Jamal Mashburn. He was Rick Pitino's #1 top recruit when he was trying to rebuild the Kentucky basketball program. Well, what's he doing in there? So now let's dig into Jamal Mashburn and see what we find out there. When we type in Jamal Mashburn's name, here's some different companies that pop up. And I chose to take a look at this one. It's kind of an intriguing name, Mashburn Gates Holding, LLC, Limited Liability Corporation. So when you dig into that to see who's involved with that, it's now an inactive business that's in good standing. And when you look around, look at this name, Ron Mercer, another one of the top recruits that Rick Pitino had when he was rebuilding the Kentucky program. Now again, there's nothing nefarious going on here. What I wanted to demonstrate for you is how you can go to resources that are available right now. And every little stop, every name that we talked about today is a potential story. You can tie all of these entities together and come up with a pretty interesting story. So here's what we're working on this week for Enterprise and Investigative Journalism. I want you to read Chapter 3 of our book, Investigative Journalism, How to Investigate a Person, Place, or Entity, and that will show you some of the tricks that I've just talked about right here. Remember to download and memorize the EIJ reporting flowchart. You're going to be responsible to know all of these steps of investigative reporting. It's available on week 2. You can download it from there. Be sure to get that down and memorize it. And then our assignment this week is Legalize Kentucky Now. It's a chance for you to start digging through and getting some information about real companies and see who's behind them and what they're trying to do. We'll catch up with you next week back here on Enterprise and Investigative Journalism. I'm Professor Gary Gupton.